Number two, me. You are, of course, predominantly investing in the management team, and the second reason, myself. I have a track record of 100% success in building challenging growth technology companies over a 20-year period in PE and VC environments. I've been hired by the same group of investors over and over for their most challenging assets. I know how to build businesses and realize entrepreneurial projects and have proved it over and over. I have never failed. I have 3 exits to my name, as well as involvement in a unicorn. Shopping list CVs are a bit dull, aren't they? How about an analogy to make things a little bit more fun? Some CEOs are like Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, all front and bluster and great at raising money, but you wouldn't back them to design and launch a new spaceship to visit a new Earth version 2 somewhere outside our solar system. They'd get a bunch of money from government, but in terms of design itself, it wouldn't be meticulously worked out to the last detail, covering all of the scenarios. It'd probably be copied from existing designs, lazily conceived, borrowed parts, and would probably explode in a big orange flare somewhere above Cape Canaveral. I, however, am the type of CEO who would know not only would I get the rocket there, but I would also build a new St. Peter's Church and Sistine Chapel whilst there. That's all a bit of fun, but what's this got to do with sliding doors? Pretty much every new dating app that launches now is the same as the existing ones, with perhaps some audience niche that it's targeting or some small variation approach like videos. Frankly, they're pretty much all utterly shit ideas. It's a crowded marketplace, and I would have zero interest in wasting my time and passion on such an app which lacks novelty, me too, doesn't actually solve any significant problems, and will highly likely fail. What you need is confidence that this plan, this idea, has real differentiation, is a really smart idea that addresses a clear market gap, one with scale, one with value, and one which can be defended, and that the guy in front of you has what it takes to execute. I've put together a number of entrepreneurial plays which illustrate my particular brand, what I love to do most, and where I believe I'm highly unusual. All of these involved big opportunities with tens of millions to up to $1 billion in enterprise value increments. Like sliding doors, the gap in the market was very clear. Everybody knew about them, but the solutions seemed unattainable to everybody else. So they'd either pass them by or they would make half-baked attempts to resolve them, which were clearly never going to fly. These are also David and Goliath opportunities where, for instance, my company as a relative minnow was looking to become key supplier to Intuitive Surgical, the world leader in robotic surgery, with a market capitalization of 133 billion. Like sliding doors, if you solved them, it was a one-player market. Nobody else could get in. They were 90% marginal profit, there or thereabouts, with tens to hundreds of millions of turnover per year and an extraordinary ROI. In all instances, we had in many respects no right to compete because we didn't have the majority of the core technologies, whereas others did. But in all instances, it was myself who solved the problem, something that no one else could manage, not even multi-billion companies. And to this day, years down the line, these businesses are operating in exactly the way I predicted at the outset, and under the operations and the structure that I designed. And I genuinely believe that no one else could have come up with the solutions that I came up with. So why? Extreme drive. All the way through my career, I've been a freak where my drive and ambition far exceeded anybody else in any of the companies I worked in. I worked harder than anybody else. These big opportunities really lit me up. I'd be in the office till 10 p.m. every night, relentlessly working on them. I never give up. Nobody can match my drive, not even close. Big picture, small details. I'm a visionary that pursues big ideas, but I'm also a mathematician and an extremely rigorous planner. It's that classic dinner party retort when we see a business that's a new big thing. Oh, I had that idea, I should have pursued it. Most are content to leave it like that. The difference is I have this burning rage when I commit to an idea to make it real. And in order to do so, I break down that vision into all the tiny steps to go from A to Z to make it a reality. To work out all the problems in advance, the critical path to success. I miss no detail. I've succeeded in a wide variety of industries, all with their own critical drivers of success, be it software, scientific R&D, consumer marketing, business to consumer, M&A, running factories, putting together finance. Each jigsaw requires its own solution, but ultimately I'm smart enough to mastermind the plan and the drive to make it happen regardless of area. Highly innovative solutions which no one else could have thought of. There was a certain patent clerk in 1905 who turned science on its head. Steve Jobs did the same with the mobile phones and music with his creative repackaging. Henry Ford said, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd say faster horses. Sometimes progress requires creative visionaries. 1,000 scientists, equally intelligent, would not have thought of what Einstein did. 1,000 CEOs of equally large organizations would not have done what Steve Jobs did. And an even more extreme example, of the 100 billion people who had ever lived, not one other could have written Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. I hope that provided a fun narrative, but let us not go any further, lest we risk implying that I am somehow on the same plane as these geniuses, which of course I am absolutely not. I do, however, share this rare quality, and over in my career, I have found completely novel ways of putting together the jigsaw, which others don't have the creativity, brains, or drive to do, which has resolved these big problems. Back to the Jordan Belfort analogy. My strength is not being a front and bluster CEO, but rather my ideas and making them happen, which stand the test of time, more specifically, big ideas that others cannot solve. Though I say it myself, if I find an entrepreneurial solution and devise a plan to make it happen, my judgment over its feasibility is good. They work. You may say he's not young enough, or he's not an early 30s Oxbridge grad. Our number one market is 20-somethings because that's where the most single people are. But sliding doors is such a fundamental problem that all single people feel it, regardless of age. This is not a problem that only young people understand, nor is it the case that because I'm not in my 20s, I don't know whether young people want this. In the 4 years since we've been developing sliding doors, we've conducted numerous market surveys and compiled so much evidence of the ubiquitous demand for this. And I can tell you that students and people in their 20s are right at the front of the queue in terms of how much they believe that sliding doors will spread like wildfire and that people will go crazy for it. I have already hired and taken on as ambassadors numerous students and people in their 20s. Leading such people is, of course, the same as leading anybody else, and they can curate for their age group the correct marketing material, and I can manage them in doing so. Myself not being of that age group is a complete non-issue in terms of compiling for that age group a cool youth vibe. As for the Oxbridge set, I've been around the block long enough to know that in any business, there's a core of one or two who have the leadership, talent, brains, and drive to drag that business kicking and screaming to success. I've always been amongst that group of one or two and have the rare attribute of originality. I'll take the Pepsi challenge any day against any Oxbridge grad, the vast majority of whom will be like anybody else, journeymen in business, even if they can put together a shiny presentation.